Hello and welcome to this opening day Saturday chat with me, Big Scott 35. So I did go to a show today. It was more of an all collector show, toy, Pokemon, everything. Um, so just to let you know, it wasn't a very big show, by the same amount of tables as last week, just in a bigger area. And he didn't use all the space. He crammed everybody. It was the same guy I don't like, but it was just a closer show. It was of convenience. So I just went to it anyway. He puts all the people close, and he had a whole area that he could have used. I, Mainly, I go just to laugh because it's ridiculous. It wasn't a great turnout. Okay turnout. It was more old schoolish turnout. There is a big show in Raleigh at the fairgrounds there, so I think a lot of people went to that, and that was a card show. Uh, so half the building was toys, half the building was cards. The cards area was more packed. Uh, and also, if you take the cards, half of those was non sports. So Pokemon was in the toys and also in the card section. So, yeah. But it was quite a bit of it was some good vintage. It was more. It was different dealers. It was like one or two of the same dealers as last week, and then a bunch of new dealers and the toys. So I went mainly. Also, it was closer. Just across town, 10 minutes for me to get there, and B, I wanted to go see some other than just cards. Uh, Toys. They also, I'll find some sports toys or something. But I didn't pick up anything like that. I did pick up a stack of cards. I took my 200. I actually took two $199, and I came back with $5. So came back with something in my pocket, and this is all the sports kind of cards. There's some wrestling in there as well. Um, so if you want to see the rest of the stack, tune in until Tuesday. I'll put a link on this channel. I did get let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven different Batmobiles and a figure I didn't have. So I wanted to go see something of my other hobbies. I was also looking for video games. Really wasn't much of that there. That'll be coming up later before I go to the national. Uh, so spent, like I said, $194 at the show, and feel very good about it. Uh, I want to also ask this out there. So, at your local shows, do you find it to be much more like uh, boxes where sit down or stand there and go through boxes than it is showcases? There were some showcases there, but for sports cards, it was a lot of boxes. And even for non sport, that's where I got these. I just dove in. It's a family that does a lot of, not every show, most of the shows. I didn't see them last week. I was shocked. I was talking to them. Their parents were not feeling well last week, so I hope they feel better. Um, but it sounds like the Suns were out there today, and that's where I bought the largest amount of these cards. All the cars came from one spot, and then I got, of course, the figure from another spot. And I mean, I did my lap around. It took me probably 2 hours, but I kept having to go to the bathroom. My stomach wasn't feeling well today. That's one thing. They had plenty of bathroom space there. They did have food and beverages. A little bit high, but not as high as I've seen at other places. So that wasn't bad. I did get a water there. So I subtract $3 also for water. So I only spent $191 on at the show. So And then $6 to get in. Geez, that's $885 now. We're just gonna keep going and going. It was a $6 for some reason to get in, which was very nerve wracking. Why $6? I didn't get that at all. Uh, you know, that was just dumb. But yeah, so it was an okay show. I've been to better, I've been to worse. Not the greatest of turnouts in that type of space. That space could have been used for last week's show a lot better. Again, I'm seeing a trend. Non-sport is starting to, I don't want to say take over the hobby, but it's got almost about the same interest at shows that I've been to so far, which I don't care. Fine by me. I would not be surprised if like the reason they had to add more tables at the National was for non-sport. I mean, that's the Philly had a whole section in the back. I mean, it that's what there's a certain large group of people, and there was a lot of Pokemon, a lot of Pokemon is king when it comes to TCG. But I did see a lot of Star Wars, a lot of boxes and packages, some unique stuff. I got to even get some Batman cards or DC, which I don't find very often. So I was very, very happy with that. I know a lot of y'all like care sports cards, but it takes all of them. They're cards, they're trading cards. So don't ever forget that trading cards. We most of us do sports, but some of us do more than that. So I thought that was fun time there. I had plenty of room walking around the toy section, so enjoyable day. And the problem with the toy section is the same people, and it's more like a museum pieces that we talk about. They don't move their stuff very much. Started even from last year when I went to one of these same shows. It was a lot of the same stuff there. What I was missing though was some of the non-sport people are usually there. So I think a lot of people was at Raleigh. But anyway, I'm going to get on to what I wanted to talk about today. It seems to be the subject coming up a lot is grading again. It's always comes up. It's like a circle. It just comes back around every so often. But now, wait times with SGC has had to expand their wait time. They are owned by the same company owns PSA, which I argue is PSA owns them. The company that owns PSA is the same people that run the parent company. So I think it's foolish word games that people play when they want to say that shit. But my thing is, I said, yeah, they're the key demographic is that higher end cards that make them more money to do them if you're going to do, if you're doing 30 cards, what would you rather do? 30 cards that cost, 20 or $12 a card, or do you want to do 20 that cost $75 a card or whatever the nonsense is? So you got to look at it that way. And again, I think the more and more, I said take a year till we'll lose the Tux. I'm wrong. I think it's been over a year. But what I'm seeing is a lot of the same management styles we saw at PSA, holding stuff up, wanting to have a backlog so you know what you have, so you know what your money is. And, it's that old, everybody wants to go to the restaurant that has a line. Nobody wants to go to one that's empty because the premise is they're the best ones. So by creating a want and a need, I just hope the prices don't go much up on SGC. CGC's prices is great. When you pay for the plan or whatever, which isn't too bad, especially if you can, share it with other people, which I do. I feel, though, that this is my thought process. I think I'm going to discontinue it. I don't see much more grading with CGC because all I was using it for was non-sport. And the only stuff I want to grade now is mainly I'm having fun putting stuff in my books and Z folios and one touches, and I'm seeing less and less the need to grade unless I want to get the most out of a card. If I find a card. Now, I will grade, some of my rookies and certain things. I still want to keep my, I'm having fun hunting Gary Carters that are already graded. I was looking for Johnny Bench's. So I found Johnny Bench's graded, but they were all SGC. Working on my registry for PSA without grading. And also, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just going to go ahead and buy other people's graded stuff. And that way I ain't got to worry about what I get back. And stuff that's in what I pick up raw that I grade is probably rookies that I want to keep or have a rookie run. I like to make rookie runs of certain players graded. Not for any registry or nothing. I just like to have them, especially if when I'm getting Caitlin Clark stuff graded. I'm picking up, some of the players I like, and a lot of the rookies at the point when they first come in the league and they're the big rookies. I like to get them graded. If it's a miss, it's a miss. But I've been doing pretty well with that and having fun. I like to get my living set cards graded. I just think they're beautiful in the SGC. But that's just a very small part of my collection. So what am I grading? Rookies that I want to keep in my collection, stuff that I'm flipping to get the most out of it. If I think it needs to be graded to get the most out of it, or if it makes sense, or rookies, flipping, and registry stuff. That's about it for me right now. I might, if I want to make another display piece like I did with my Stormtroopers, I'll grade a little bit here because I'm always got that but I when this comes up. But the more I've been thinking, I've been kind of staying quiet and listening. Again, I fell in love with grading probably 9 years ago, 8-9 years ago. I got to thank Mike Moynihan for putting me on that addiction train. Then hooking up with Mike and him doing the group stuff. It is fun. I love to get it graded, pop it open, and see what I got. But it just doesn't make much sense, right? Now, if it's something that I want to put that but. If it's something I want to get graded, I'll get it graded. I don't give a shit. But that's kind of where what I'm looking at right now for the most part. I want to get the most. I'm always talking about value. So the most bang for my buck is first, if it makes sense for flipping, then B, my rookie collection that I have, or I forgot I'll do some cup guys too, like Singa, some other people if I really like them as a cup if I'm keeping them. I don't have too many of those, but I almost forgot about that. That's like almost a rookie second year cup cards, but and that's not necessarily a thing. That's very bad. I went back through cards I want to get graded, and I was like, what am I doing? This just doesn't make sense, and that's where I'm at with that. I would like to know what everybody else feels. I want to continue this discussion on Sunday night. you've heard my rants with PSA and return shipments and stuff like that. It just doesn't make sense about that crap. And, it's just, I just mailed 300 cards for like $10 the other day to somebody. And I just don't get that whole $25, $35 shipping. And they can take that in. And the insurance thing, I've talked about it before. Good luck getting out if something happens to your cards. They should take some type of responsibility on some of that too. But you take on the liability when you take on that type of business. So that's the cost of doing business. They should have some type of insurance to cover them for that. And I really feel, I've talked, and we'll keep bringing this up. I feel like PSA has forgotten what made them the number one number on the top, and that was the registry. And people just getting, when all these influx of new people coming into the hobby, that registry, and people were, making videos of the registry, because that's what got me hooked into it. And I found Baubles, and that's how I found Natsman, my brother from another mother, my boy. I found him before I did Baubles, and I contacted him. I found Baubles because of Natsman, and started finding out about SGC, started watching Elite Code 3, then I started doing my own thing with SGC, so that became a thing. And then when CGC came, tried them just to see, using cards. But see, now what's happening is now I'm trying to sell those cards, and it's ridiculous. I sold an Acuna. I'd be better off cracking them out, to be honest. And that's, to me, should I be patient? Yes. But am I? No. I just want out of my house. And, I sold it. If it was PSA or SGC, would have sold for, I don't know how much more, but the ignorance out there kills those prices, and I just want to get rid of them. And I'm sure that card is going to get cracked. It was an SGC 10, so damn well it's a PSA 10, not a SGC, CGC 10. So damn well it's an SGC or PSA 10, because CGC is the toughest grader out there. I will argue that from here to the hills, that they're the toughest graders. And the most beautiful slabs and flip out there, especially the pristine flips. And it doesn't make much sense when I see if a PSA is X amount and how much more or less is a C. I've seen that comment many times. Okay, should a little bit less, but we're not talking the difference in two different foods. We're not talking about Wagyu beef and some select beef at Walmart. It's not that type of thing. It's two respectable places. To me, the grading is better than one and the other. PSA had to admit that they had to be tighter on their grading, and nobody's even flinched or talked about that, really. It's like more people just got angry because what does that mean about their older slabs? Well, it means that they suck at grading. They're loose, and they let shit go by. By not having a 9.5, I used to say, back in the day, if it wasn't a 9 and it was too high and the grade was higher than a 9, it was a 10. It didn't fall back to a 9. And then you saw with SGC coming in with their 9.5, PSA had to bring that up. So I think a lot of that had to do with it. It's too late in the game for them to make a 9.5. I really think SGC and then CGC really pushed PSA to be better. And I haven't not brought that up because I don't really talk about grading. I used to. Now it's kind of just it's a necessary evil on some parts of this hobby. I've seen less and less at it at shows. So now it's more of eye appeal, it brings the haggling more out. Uh, so that part of it, I've seen more and more of. And that's another thing I'm interested at this next national. Because I noticed it at Philly, I noticed it last week's show, and really noticed it this week. I saw more TCG stuff graded than I did ball cards, I think. And you probably same, but you're so used to seeing cases and cases of just graded cards, and it was there. It was more graded cards than not in the cases, I should say. Let me rephrase, but less than what I'm used to seeing. I only saw a few like boxes with their, with the cheap ones in boxes where you go through them. But and I've seen some weird graded stuff. New company, I didn't, and the person had it priced as if it was a known company. Now there is a difference between companies. You're not going to sit there and tell me that somebody that's not as transparent, like Tag or Arena or somebody that really made up some bullshit at the beginning of their stuff, can be reliable as some of these other people. But that's my opinion. I guess that's where it kind of changes. But when it comes to the big three or four, when you include Beckett, because Beckett's still there too. I mean, they're all reparable in what your opinion comes over. And for whatever reason, PSA is number one. I know the people are now that they're the king of grading, and then once somebody big enough starts grading with another company, SGC made a huge run at them. They bought them. Now you're seeing their numbers slipping. And now they're saying, and my question is for tomorrow night is like for grading, and they're telling me that it takes longer, this, that, and the other. Is it because more cards are getting graded, or are these companies downsizing to maximize profits? We already know that they go to shows and use interns or pick off Joe Blow off the street for these shows. Don't pay them nothing. Give them a bologna cheese sandwich and some water. They had found that out, I think, at the last Chicago show, I believe, or the Atlantic City show. I can't remember which. And I don't know which way the wind is blowing on that, because they're transparent as mud when they come to tell you what's really going on, what their backlog is, why it's taking so long. And now the big show season's coming. They're going to take people and go to shows and take them away from the buildings to do the grading process. So, I think that has something to do to it. It's probably a little bit of all of it, but come with your thoughts. Anything else in the hobby you want to talk about? Last week we were laughing after the show and off air. We didn't even talk about the Skeens card getting sold. We were so talking about everything else. Great show last week. And hopefully the same happens this week. But I don't care about that card getting sold. I think it's great that Dick's bought it and can be shared amongst the masses, maybe, and hopefully the kid turns out to be what everybody wants him to be. And I love the fact that it was life-changing money for that family, and Golden got none of it, which is the best part of it all. And so until tomorrow night, like, share, tell a friend, please subscribe if you haven't, and come in and with your questions or answers, or come in to ride me or anybody of my friends that are in. And until then, see ya.